Okay, well, I don't want to keep everybody waiting who's already in the room. So thank you so much for joining the session today. I hope that the rest of the event has been going really well for everybody, and that you've learned some interesting things from the Canadian Virtual Career Fair and Conference. I know we have some really great speakers lined up as a part of the event. So I hope that you've had a chance to ask people questions and learn something new. Um, I'm here to talk to you today about how to recover from job hunting burnout during COVID-19. uh, because it's an exceptional time to be looking for a job right now. So if you have been looking for a new opportunity, first of all, this is an exceptional time to be doing that. And congratulations for putting yourself out there at a very unusual time in job hunting history. And I'm going to hopefully be able to give you some tips on how to cope with what people are experiencing as very high levels of burnout, because some of the ways that we're usually doing job hunting are more energizing than they are right now. A lot of the ways that we're doing job hunting are virtual, which means that we're not using all of the senses that are usually available to us when we're learning about different opportunities. And so that's in and of itself sort of a complicated environment to be doing job hunting in. So it's leading to the lack of connection, the lack of social connection, combined with the pressure and stress of living through a global pandemic, reading the news every day with different kinds of information for us around recession, economic recession. I won't go through them too much because I'm sure that everybody who's in on this session knows these all to be too true, that these are very stressful conditions to be job hunting in. So how do you cope with this? The first thing actually is to recognize if you have burnout, is just to recognize what burnout is. So I'll just go through it really quickly, what some of the signs and symptoms are of burnout, physical burnout. I realized that I actually didn't really introduce myself before I got into this discussion. What makes me an expert in burnout? Um, I'm a registered social worker. My practice is Careerscape counseling and education. I work with people every day in my practice who experience burnout or for a variety of different reasons. I should also say that burnout is not a clinical diagnosis. A lot of people believe that the burnout is actually a symptom of depression. So it's very important that if you, as a part of this session, think that you are experiencing burnout, when I talk you through what that might look like, that you seek out some professional support for that, either through a family doctor or through a mental health practitioner. Does not have to be me, but somebody like a registered social worker or a psychotherapist that can help you cope with what it is that you're experiencing, because it can be very serious. So what you might be looking for in a state of burnout, that you're experiencing physical and emotional exhaustion, may also involve not being able to see your accomplishments in their perspective. If you have felt like an accomplished professional before and you're just having trouble, you're struggling to see your accomplishments for what they are, and having trouble putting those forward, of course, for other people to see, that's something to note. And also, this may be something that's affecting your physical health. You may feel lethargic, lack of motivation. That's atypical for you. That those also could be signs of burnout. I think it's also good to note that any time we're being overly critical of ourselves or the people around us, if you notice that there's a certain level of irritability that you're experiencing, that these are important things to be considerate. This should be important things under consideration, that this could be a sign of burnout. And that you're just not, you're feeling disillusioned maybe about what your prospects are. You're having trouble filtering some of the noise and keeping yourself motivated. These are all really important things to think about. Also, if there's been any sort of thing that you've been thinking about using, sort of alcohol or drugs or other maybe unhealthy coping mechanisms as a way to ease some of the pain that you may be experiencing, those are important things to pay attention to. So, yeah, I already mentioned that it's important just to take note of these things, recoup. If you need to seek professional support, absolutely be doing that. Um, and I also mentioned that some of the things that may be causing job hunting burnout during COVID-19 are that there's a lot of uncertainty. And uncertainty, this is actually we have a physical response to uncertainty. So it's very important to understand that actually coping with uncertainty is very painful, can be very physically painful. It does take a toll on our physical and mental health to be moving through periods of uncertainty. So, in fact, all job transitions are potentially impacting our mental health. And it's especially acute during times where there's global uncertainty. I mean, we're in a period of history where there's a lot of global uncertainty. Every day we're reading the news about something different, the vaccine rollout, the um, economic circumstances, economic recession. So in terms of our personal feelings of insecurity and uncertainty, which are totally normal to experience with the job hunting process, this is compounded by external information that we're receiving about the global climate that we're in, feeling particularly uncertain. So a lot of people in the therapeutic practice, in therapy, a lot of what we're doing with people is actually helping them cope with uncertainty, helping people feel that they can navigate the complexities of uncertainty and get to the other side of a difficult and unknown situation with support. And seeking support is very important. So if it's not from a professional, if it's not from a mental health practitioner or a doctor, it's important to recognize that one of the key ways that we can help ourselves handle the pain of uncertainty is to reach out for social support. So you want to be reaching out to, this is very complicated with job hunting because there can be a lot of shame that's experienced around not having a job. So I recognize that what I'm saying is not as straightforward as call your mom or talk to your wife or your husband, because there's a lot that's tied up in reaching out first, being vulnerable with people and letting them know how you're really feeling. And and it's important to find one person in your life that you feel that you could really be real with, to let them know, you know what, the job search is particularly complicated because of COVID. I wonder if it would be okay for me to check in with you, let you know how I'm doing with it. You know, just to maybe check in with you once a month or once every 3 weeks, just to kind of be building some of your social supports out. This is actually the main thing that we can do. And actually, I really hope that people are finding that through this event today, that maybe this is a space where you're able to connect with other people. They may be in a similar circumstance, and they may be a good person to connect with, just to say, you know what, this has been more complicated than I expected, and this is how it's making me feel. These are the things I'm concerned about. These are the things that have been helpful. This was a super great opportunity. You should try this. That in and of itself, that sort of peer support and emotional connection with others during this time is going to help people cope with burnout. Another thing that helps people cope with burnout is boundaries, putting good boundaries in around your job searching time. So this involves routine. This involves taking your job search, thinking of your job search just like you would think about a job. So you are going to treat your job search just like it's your business. It's your job. It's what you're doing every day when you get up. And you build in some routine just like you would around a job. You're building in some good routine to hold you in the process of the job search. So that could look like, you know, not sleeping in every day. That could look like you set your alarm clock for a certain time. You're getting up at 7:30. You're going through the routines of the morning, showering, eating breakfast, and then you're deciding that you're going to be at your desk working on some aspect of job searching starting at 9. and you'll end at 11, or you'll take a break at 10:30 and you'll end at noon. So the routine of job searching is very important. I recommend actually that people don't spend more than a half a day on that endeavor, especially if you're noticing that some very hard thoughts are coming up for you or some emotions are coming up. I know that when people stay looking at job boards for an extended period of time, it can feel all of a sudden very confusing and disorienting, and you can kind of start to forget what it is that you're looking for, especially if you're looking to find the role before it is that you're really clear on what it is that you're looking for. Spending too much time on the job boards actually is not very healthy. So just to limit yourself, to put limits on, I'm going to spend 2 hours on the job boards today. I'm going to spend 1 hour working on my resume, and then I'm going to go for a walk, and I'm going to spend time outside, and I am going to congratulate myself, actually, and I'm going to celebrate that I spent 3 hours in the morning doing this, because that's really important too, in terms of taking care of yourself, that you are acknowledging for yourself that job searching is very challenging, and that you're coping with the pain of uncertainty basically all the time. So that these are very challenging things, and you find some way of rewarding yourself. Reward is very important in terms of being able to maintain certain behaviors or certain activities, and so reward is also very important with job hunting. That you find a way after your 3 hours working on some aspect of the job hunt, whether it's attending a career fair, like I said, working on your resume, maybe talking to your career coach or your career counselor, maybe all the different ways that you could be working on job hunting, but working on your LinkedIn. And then what's your reward? What's your system that you look forward to at the end of that 3 hours in the morning? What's the way that you're going to reward yourself for this hard work? Very, very important that you do that every day. So how are you handling burnout? Just to recap, you're putting good boundaries in around your time, around your schedule, your routine. You treat job hunting like a job, but not a job that you're overworking at. You just do it for 3 hours a day, in the morning, preferably. And you're telling people that you're close to that that's what you're doing with your time. And you're seeking social support. So that could be from friends and family. That could maybe be actually from somebody that you're just meeting through one of these conferences that's in a similar position to you. You're taking breaks. You're taking really good breaks. You're figuring out a system of reward. And if you need to, you are seeking out professional supports that can help you, especially if what you're experiencing as burnout may be tied to other experiences with your mental health, for instance, depression. That it's very important also that you're treating it with the gravity that it should be treated with. Burnout's a very serious condition that people cope with. And it doesn't make us feel like our best selves. It doesn't make us feel like we're really putting our best foot forward when we're already feeling like we're kind of in a vulnerable position looking for work. So, these are some of the things that I wanted to share with you all today. And they were just very brief, succinct kind of summary of how to cope with burnout and what burnout looks like, what burnout is, so that you can identify it in yourself or your loved ones if you have people in a similar position, and that you can take the right steps to be able to help yourself. I also wanted to leave some room for questions, which I know we don't have too long for, but if anybody does anybody have any questions? Thanks, Rachel. I'm really glad that was helpful. Thanks for coming to the session. Yeah, I don't know if anybody has any specific questions around what to look for. I know that burnout is a term that can be used, is used a lot. So maybe people are reluctant to use it with themselves, but oh, hi, Jesse.
Hi, I'm Jesse. I'm actually from the TorontoJobs.ca events team. I think we were talking about the session over email earlier, right?
I think so. Nice to meet you.
Absolutely, you as well. Actually, yeah, I just wanted to come on and thank you for the presentation. I was sitting in on it. Definitely a lot of points that I felt were really important. Like treating your job search as an actual job, because that's what it is, right? It's just a job that you don't get paid for.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? It's good since people are not being paid for it, it's good to figure out ways to find value in it anyways for
Yeah,
yourself,
absolutely. Yeah.
that you feel like, and that's where the systems of reward can really be effective for people
Yeah.
is, because actually that's what being paid is. It's a reward,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's very important to build that into the job searching process too. You have some system for rewarding yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Because otherwise, you have no motivation to keep looking if you're getting no results that are tangible, right? That's a big part of like, yeah,
Exactly.
a big part of like why.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you're taking a little bit of the power into your own hands,
Yeah.
because
Exactly. Yeah.
the only reward isn't when you get the job, if you're building in your own system for rewarding yourself along the way, it takes actually less pressure off of that final, it takes actually less pressure off of the less the intensity, I guess, off of each individual job application that you're putting in.
Yeah. Exactly. For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. So yeah.
Just seeing Vivian. Thank you so much, Vivian. I'm glad that those were helpful pointers for you.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I did want to also, thank you for mentioning that if people are struggling with burnout or think that they may have signs of depression, definitely, I agree, reach out to someone who might be able to help you. It's a lot more common of an experience than people tend to assume, I think. So, yeah. So,
Yeah, I think it's especially key with with job search is like an area where people can experience a lot of shame, that there's like
yeah,
there's
absolutely.
a lot of shame around the experience of unemployment. And I mean, I think that that's one of the main things, honestly, that I work with people in my practice is just those feelings of shame that are unfortunately tied to that, which is a very it's not an uncommon experience to be unemployed, but it's something that we don't really talk about. So I think that reaching out for support can definitely help also to just sort of destigmatize the experience of of being in between. I always say it's being in between
Yeah.
opportunities. It's another way to frame that for yourself, which is also really helpful to frame it for yourself
Oh, yeah,
differently.
100%.
That
Yeah.
you're,
Because if you keep just
yeah,
telling yourself, like, oh, I'm jobless, like, yeah, you're going to think, like, I'm lacking something, right? Yeah, definitely. I think that has a big
totally.
impact on people's mental health. So, um, again, I wanted to thank you for coming out today.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing the presentation. If anyone has any questions for Lindsey, if you guys want to connect with Lindsey, definitely feel free to reach out to her in the chat. And Lindsey, if you'd like, you can put in your social media or your email in the chat as well, so people can get in touch with you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to put in my
Sure
website,
thing.
and all of my information is on the website.
Perfect. Sounds good.
You know what? I'll put in my email address here too, so people can get in touch if they need to.
Yep. Sounds good. Yeah, so this is actually
Great.
one of our last sessions for the day. So we'll just have our career panel coming up after this. That'll be on the main stage on your left. I'll paste the link in the chat here for everyone. So you'll be able to ask some questions from industry-leading recruiters, get some tips on, making your resume, your interview skills appealing to the recruiter themselves. So we're excited to see you there as well. Or, you can also check out the networking section, which will allow you to connect with people one-on-one over video. This will connect you with any other attendee at the event who's also in the networking section. So again, thanks everyone for coming out, and we hope to see you at the panel. Lindsey, again, thank you, and have a great afternoon.
Oh, so welcome. Thanks everybody for coming. Thank you.